Welcome to Free and On the Road. Today, we are going to do a little bit more fine tuning to get the best espresso out of our Breville Barista Express. You guys really loved my other tutorials and I wanted to dive in a little deeper. Some of you wanted to see things like the espresso range and things like that to see how it's all working. So first off, I'd like to say thank you so much for following, sharing, subscribing, and all those fun things. Make sure you go ahead and hit that bell so you get to see more videos like this in the future. We're going to go ahead and get started. Right now, I have my Breville Barista Express machine tuned in to a local coffee roaster. Everybody asked me, one of the biggest questions I get asked, which you're going to hear me say this like I'm a broken record, what is the first thing to do to get good coffee? The first thing to do is to start with good coffee. So this is a local roaster. This is Fort Smith Coffee Co. in Fort Smith, Arkansas. They do local roasting. This particular one is a medium roast. It's from Ethiopia, and it's a natural bean. So that means that they actually let the fruit dry in the bean naturally before they process it. It is a little bit lighter. This one's on a sweeter, like a little lighter, sweeter side. You can taste some of the acidity. Anyway, I have my machine tuned into it. We're going to pull 3 different shots today. We're going to pull one right where it needs to be. We are going to pull one where it is way too fine, and we're going to pull another one at way too coarse so you can see what happens with your machine. So I think what we're going to do first is we're going to start with a good shot, right? Why not? So we're going to go ahead and start with a good shot. So first off, I have my machine. As you can see, I have my grind setting set to 10. This is going to be for my perfect espresso shot. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and grind that coffee. All right, I always start first by zeroing out my scale with my portafilter on it. So it's zeroed out at this point. Then we're going to go ahead and grind our coffee into our portafilter or espresso. Espresso is technically, all espresso is it is a coffee that is ground to pull differently. So don't, like when you're going to buy coffee beans, don't think that you have to buy something that specifically says espresso, okay? A lot of espresso beans tend to be roasted really dark. I don't really like my espresso roasted really dark, so you can use any coffee bean in your espresso machine. It's all based on how you're grinding it and how those shots are pulling. So that's kind of what we're getting into today. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and measure it again. All right, so my scale is at 19 grams. I'm going to call that good. Some people would say it's a little bit too much, but anywhere between 18 and 20, I'm happy with. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my little whiskey whisk woo woo, and I'm going to whisk the grinds. That just kind of breaks it up so we don't get any channeling, okay? All right. Now I'm going to go ahead. Oh, my son taught me this trick. You actually tamp it with the little thing on there still, and then it doesn't make as big of a mess. So then I'll go ahead and tamp that shot down. I always bang it a little bit to get all the stuff that's extra off the side. Okay. This is going to be our first shot of the day, so I'm going to go ahead and run the espresso machine for one single shot just to warm up the head. I made sure I emptied my water tray before I started. All right. I'm going to reset my scale with the glass on there so that when I pull my shot, it's now reset with that glass on there. We will take our portafilter, put it into the machine, place our glass and our scale into the machine or into the tray or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to pull this as a double shot, but I'm going to be doing it as a manual double shot. So on my scale, I'm going to press my timer button at the same time that I press my double shot button. I am going to press and hold my double shot button. All right, you can hear the machine pressuring up. You can see my espresso gauge going up into espresso range right now. That's exactly how we want it. That was 19 grams of coffee. I should have stopped the timer, sorry. And I wanted it to be about, 38 grams. Sometimes on the Breville, when you stop it, it keeps going, but that's pretty close. It's 42 grams. It actually stopped at 30 seconds. I forgot to hit the time for you. So that is our perfect pulled shot. This was my perfect pulled shot. You can see the crema layer on that and how perfectly that was. You could see on my video the actual pressure gauge and how good that was. All right, we're gonna take our perfect shot and set it aside. Now we're gonna go ahead and adjust our grind setting. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and adjust this grind setting to 2 coarse. So we know 10 is a perfect setting for this. We're gonna go ahead and turn it down to 16 and we're gonna see what happens. All right, so whenever we change it to be more coarse, it's actually gonna give us more beans on our grind amount. So whenever you turn it that much more coarse, you're actually gonna turn your grind setting down at least 1. Otherwise, it's gonna give us way too much grinds. All right. I just got my portafilter back from our perfect shot, and now we're gonna do our shot that is too coarse. Okay, it's all the same steps. We're gonna start first by weighing, clearing out our scale. So I cleared out my scale to 0 grams. Grind our coffee. We are using the same coffee. This is a Fort Smith Coffee Co. Ethiopian coffee, medium roast. All right, weigh that. So that's at 19.8. See, I should have turned my grind down 1 more. I'm actually gonna pull a little bit of this out because that's just a touch too much for me. I don't want it to be over 20. Just throw that away for me. All right, we do our little whiskey woo. That just breaks up any clumps that were in the grinds, again, so we don't get any channeling. It helps us get more of an even roast. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and tamp it down. All right. Our machine is already warmed up because we've already pulled our perfect shot. Now we're gonna go ahead and reset our scale and our timer. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put the portafilter into our machine, put our scale and our glass into the tray, and we'll go ahead and pull the shot the same exact way. So normally my pre-extraction is 7 seconds, so that's what we're gonna go for. With a double shot, we're gonna hold and we're gonna press and hold our 2-shot espresso button until the pre-extraction's done, and then we will let go and let it pull the shot. I always press my timer button at the same time that I start the pre-extraction because that is the beginning count of your shot. All right, let's go. So I can hear it pressurizing up. You can see the espresso range. It is going up, but it's not going up as high. And now if you look at the shot, it's almost a 36 and it's only at 18 seconds. There we go. We're already at 40 grams and it was 21 seconds. All right, so this is what a shot looks like when it's too coarse. It is gonna come out too fast. When you smell your shot, it smells a little bit sour. And the reason why is because it's pulling through those grinds too fast because the grinds aren't quite tight enough for the espresso machine to pressurize and pull that shot at the right speed. So I'm going to show you my 2 shots again. This is my perfect shot. This right here is my shot that was pulled a little bit too fast. My perfect shot has a little bit of caramel notes in it. Molassesy notes. This one smells very citrusy and sour. Okay, so shot 1 is perfect. Shot 2 is coarse. Now we're gonna go ahead and pull a 3rd shot. All right, so that last one was at 16. Our perfect shot is at 10. Now I'm gonna show you what happens when it's too fine. So we're gonna go ahead and turn this right down to 3. All right, remember whenever we change our grind size, it will change our grind amount. So I can guarantee you by turning it all the way down to 3, it's not going to give me 18 grams. So I'm going to turn my grind amount up by 3 notches. All right. So we are going to pull the shot the same exact way, and we're going to see how the machine acts when the grinds are too fine. All right, so first step, resetting our scale to weigh our portafilter, 0 it out. Grind our beans. I'll show you when all this is over. It's really interesting the color profile that it leaves on these when they pull too short or too long based on the grinds. Okay. So that only gave us 15 grams. See, I was right. That wasn't going to be enough. So we're going to go ahead and put a little more in there. Okay. I am going to put my machine back to its regular settings because that would really suck if later I tried to pull a shot and I didn't pay attention to that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do the same steps. I got this at 18 grams. I'm going to do the little whisker woo-woo. All right, just break up any clumps. Then we tamp it down. From what I've learned, you can't really over tamp it, so don't be afraid to put some pressure on it. You'll see this one's going to pull way different because this is way too fine for this coffee. I can tell you right now. All right, so now we have our third glass. We're going to do the same thing. We are going to reset our scale out. Easiest way on this scale is to just turn it off and back on. So I got my scale reset. We're going to put our portafilter into the Breville. Put our scale and our cup. All right, now we're going to go ahead and pull that double shot the same exact way the first two shots were pulled. I don't think I need to walk you through it, but we will anyway. Press and hold. Start your timer. I do my pre-extraction for about 7 seconds. You can hear the machine change. You can see the pressure gauge. It is going up, up, up. It did get into espresso range. That's really good, actually. But if you look at the shot down here, you can see it's barely dripping out. Okay? It says right now that I am at 0 grams and I am at 23 seconds. This is barely. So if you have shots that are barely coming out of your machine, you more than likely are doing it too fine. So this is what happens when your shots are too fine. So that was about 35 seconds. That's where a shot should be. This is what a shot looks like when you pull it too fine. All right, let me show you my 3 shots. I should have pulled that one at 30 seconds.
Tiny bit, 4 grams.
Okay, guys, I am going to actually pull this second shot again, which was the one that was too coarse, and I'm going to do it in an actual 30 seconds so you can see the volume difference. I'll save this shot for now. I'll just set it aside, but we are going to pull another shot at a full 30 seconds because I want you to see the difference in volume. All right, when I first got my Breville Barista Express, I had so many problems trying to get it tuned in with my grind. And I had this problem where it was barely pulling the shots like this, and then the shots were flying out, and I couldn't figure out how to get a good shot. So this was a lot of trial and error to get this into where I need to be and get it honed in. But what I learned was for the coffees that I'm using, I put my internal grinder inside at 3. If you need to see how to do that, I have it in one of my other videos, I think. If not, comment below and I'll do a video on it. But I turned my internal grinder down to 3, and my external grinder, I'm turning it anywhere. I mean, it really is anywhere between like 6 and 12, depending on the coffee. But one thing that I have learned is when you're adjusting the grind, just do it one movement at a time. Don't go too crazy, because if you go too crazy, sometimes you're just going to be like going all over the place and not actually fine tuning or honing it in. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that shot that was too coarse one more time. I'm just going to go ahead and do that real fast. I'm not going to walk you through all of it because you've already seen this 3 times. I'm just going to do it real quick so I can show you the differences in the shots. We're going to also taste the shots at the end here, including our little caramelized syrup. You guys, I totally forgot that this was a coarser grind, and I should have. There we go. Could you throw that away from me? Or dump it all over the ground. All right. I'm just going to do this real quick, guys, so I can show you the difference. All right. So this is our shot that is too coarse. I am going to pull it at a full 30 seconds this time so you can see how much espresso it makes at a full 30 seconds when it's too coarse. Okay, so we're going to do this at a full 30 seconds. You can see when it's too coarse, the espresso range goes up, but it doesn't go all the way into range. Okay, now as we're watching the time, we're at 15. We're going to try to go to a full 30 seconds. All right, so that's a 30-second shot. It gave us 75 grams. This is our shot that was too coarse, and this is our shot that was too fine. Okay, so our shot that was just perfect, you can see, if you look back in the video, the crema was all there. It does still have crema, but it's been sitting for a little while because we've been videoing. But the perfect shot was right at about 36 grams within 30 seconds. We're going to taste that shot. This espresso is definitely a lighter, or this coffee is definitely lighter. It's got like a nice molasses and then maybe some nectarine type tones in it. And that was a perfect roundness to it. It wasn't bitter. It wasn't sour. It just had a perfect roundness to it. Now we're going to look at our shot here. This was our shot that we did too coarse. So you can see this was also a 30-second shot, but this gave us, how much did this give us? 75? Okay, so this shot actually gave us 75 grams. Now we want it to be a 1-to-2 ratio. So if we're doing 18 grams of espresso, 18 grams of beans, we only want 36 grams of liquid. So let's go ahead and taste this shot. Wow, that is pungent and sour. It is very sour. This coffee is a lighter roast already, and this really emphasizes the sourness. So, I mean, if you don't mind really sour coffee, this is how to do it. But this is not the ideal way to pull an espresso shot. All right. And this one, I don't even remember how many grams that was. I mean, that's like literally next to nothing. It says 9 grams. So that would have been 9 grams of liquid. I don't think it was quite 9. My son thinks it was 4. It might have been. I don't know. We'd have to go back in the video. Anyway, let's try a sip of this. It smells burnt. Oh, that is undrinkable. Maybe if you put a whole glass of like milk with this little tiny shot, it might be drinkable, but that is undrinkable. All right, so I hope that you learned something about the Breville Barista. I hope you learned something about pulling your espresso shots and how important it is to have the grind right. I did do a video on perfecting your grind for the best espresso shots. You can go back and see that. I'll put a link to it here. But what my suggestion would be is if you're having a hard time getting your Breville to get tuned in, first you're going to want to start with a really good coffee. So there's a lot of different options out there. My number one supporter is Epicurean Specialty Coffee. So if you check them out and you use my code ONTHEROAD30, you'll get 30% off your incomplete order. Or go to your local coffee roaster. I love supporting local. When I travel, I always get coffee from a local coffee roasters. It's people like us supporting local coffee roasters that'll keep good coffee coming out, so we always have good coffee available to us. So make sure that you're supporting your local coffee shops. Like I said, I went to my local coffee shop, and that's the coffee that I got for today's episode, and I put that in my machine. Sometimes when I change my roast, I do have to adjust my grind a little bit, but once you have it honed in from roast to roast, it shouldn't change a whole lot. It does change. So for example, this is a medium roast, and my other one that I have from them here is a dark roast. A dark roast can actually be done a little bit coarser, and a lighter roast needs to be a little bit finer. So you kind of learn that as you go. I find that when I pull my first shot from that, if I'm changing from a medium roast to a dark roast, Since my medium roast was at 10, when I go to do my dark roast, I know it won't need to be as fine. So I will actually turn my dial down 1 before I even start the first shot of that bag. Then I'll put some of that darker roast in and I will pull 1 shot. I'll weigh it, I'll measure it. And if it seems like it's a little bit off, I will just change my grind size by 1 at a time. Keeping an eye on things like your espresso range and how long your shots are pulling. I hope that it helped you figure out like how long they pull by weight with the scale. There are some really cheap options for scales. I do not have a high-end scale. This is just a cheap one from Amazon, but it works great. I know that I could probably make it more perfect if I had a better scale, but I mean, my espresso at home tastes better than any coffee shop. Even the coffee shops that I buy their coffee from, I can make it taste better at home than any coffee shop just because I make sure that I keep my machine honed in and I make sure that I keep my machine clean and all of those things. My coffee at home is better even without having, $100 scale or an extra grinder. There are a lot of things that I want to buy, but needing to buy, you don't have to. You can start with just this machine and have better coffee at home than you do at a coffee shop. Anyway, thank you so much for watching Free and on the Road. Please be sure to like, follow, share, subscribe, all of that fun stuff on all of my socials. I am on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. Remember, here's my good shot. Keep on brewing.